Hi, I'm Rob Sin. Uh, this is my college geometry course at the University of North Georgia. It's really, though, a video about learning how to use GeoGebra. This is going to be an amazing tool. It's got a lot of power. You go here to geogebra.org, click on Start the Calculator, and you'll see this is the online version. You can load a desktop version. I tend to use the online version. Before we get going too far into how to make these drawings, let me show you why we're doing this. So you can see in my geometry book that I've posted online, we've got some animations, and this one has been paused. The page opens with these animations running, and that's your choice. I will show you if you're interested how to do it. So this is polygon interior, and you can see here's a control. There's also a full screen control that I've pushed on this one over here. Um, Now, I just think this really helps to illustrate something that's a little hard to see, like the definition of convexity, right? So here is the definition, right? If X and Y are in the polygon P, then the entire line segment, all the points of the line segment are inside P. Well, that's true, but it's a whole lot easier to see over here. Here's the counterexample, because there are line segments that can be drawn that jump outside this, where points on the line segment jump outside the polygon. But when I look at these are the examples, right? Anytime I choose X and Y from within the interior of the polygon, the entire line segment is in the interior of the polygon. So that's why we're doing this. Great educational content, visual content really shows the ideas of what we're trying to describe a lot better than just our symbols. GeoGebra is really easy to use. A lot of people will start with the tools menu, and you can make points, and you can create lines, and so there's all of these different things that you can construct: perpendicular bisectors and line segments. So I can click on the segment tool and make a line segment. So this is an option that a lot of people use. Let me just say that I don't think that's the fastest way to go. If you click over here to the calculator menu button, right, so this one, then you see that these points actually are plotted on this grid, and which is why I left it. A lot of times we like drawings without the grid in the background, but if you're trying to create professional looking drawings, a lot of times it's best to start with the grid, and I'll show you why in just a second. I just hit reload so that I can get back to a clean start. And let me show you, I can just type in a point. Let's say I want a point at the origin, right? I just type A equals and then I put the point, and let's put the point B right next to it on the x-axis, 1 unit away. And I don't need to worry if that's the right size or not because, and I'm just using my scroll on my mouse, right? I can zoom in and zoom out, right? So whatever size that is, that's going to work. I'm left clicking to drag around. Um, and for example, I could make a circle. And when you start typing circle, it tells you point and radius, but watch this. If I go circle A comma B, it uses A as the center and B as the distance between A and B is the radius, right? Or I can do circle B comma A, and it'll do it in the opposite way. So these are the ways that a lot of people can do this really quickly. Let me do this. So a really cool technique is this regular polygon. So we're going to use the polygon tool, and you can give it a list of points. But what's interesting is you can use this one, where I say I want to use A comma B comma, let's say 8 points. And you can see that it's given me an octagon, right? It starts with this line segment, and then it says, okay, well, I need a regular polygon, so every side length has to be equal to AB, and then you tell it how many vertices you want, and you get something like that. So this is why I think that it's really good to learn how to use this input menu over here. For just a second, I hit refresh intentionally to show you that what if it's interesting. Remember, I was using capital letters to get a point, right? So I got the point, let's say 1 comma 4, right? I can get the point that way. What if I use a lowercase letter? I'm going to use V because I'm going to do a vector, right? But I'm using the exact same input, let's say 3 comma 9, Wait, let me not go that big so you can see it. 3 comma 6, right? Just notice the only difference here is that I used a lowercase letter, and now GeoGebra is interpreting this as the vector v. Really pretty cool. This is why it's really powerful. We can do a lot of tools, a lot of animations for higher level mathematics, calculus, linear algebra, differential equations. It's pretty powerful. Okay, so let's start a little example here. Let's make some parallel and perpendicular lines. So first of all, if I just want to create a line, I start typing line, it says point, point, I can tell, oops, I can tell it AB. But that's just the x-axis. Don't worry about it because we're going to get rid of the x-axis soon. And then I can say, I don't know, let's create another point. So I'm going to create, oh wait, sorry, not create, but write C equals, and let's put it on the y-axis. So it'll be, well, no, let's do something like 1 comma 4. Okay. And now I can say, hey, create the line between A and C. Boom. Okay. But let's say I want a parallelogram. Okay. Well, then I can do a line through here. So you see that it has these pop-up helps, right? And so these are different options I have, right? So I can tell it a point and the line I want it to be parallel to. I can tell it a point and give it a direction vector. And I don't even know what some of these mean, but I'm sure they're cool ways to make stuff. And so, yeah, let me get back here where I can click. Okay, so yes, and I created a line and didn't want to. Okay, so I can go, and by the way, you don't have to do the capitalization, right? If I go line C, comma, B, for example, you'll see that it's there. But what I want to do is I want to tell it the line that it's parallel to. So I can say line AB, right? So this is interesting. I can use nesting. I can, even if this line wasn't here and it is, it's called F. All right. So I'll show you that way in just a second, right? This line is called H. So I'll throw something in here in just a second. But this allowed me to actually just say, hey, I want a line C, and then the thing I want it to be parallel to is AB. So remember that. That's a nice little pro tip there, and that's what I want to try to give you, and that's why I want to. That's why I'm saying that you definitely want to be working over here, right? It's just so much faster and cooler than clicking around. And let me get the cursor back. So now I said, well, we can still do things like line, and I can go through B, and I could go parallel to line G. That's gonna help make a parallelogram, right? So the way I knew that, I just looked up here, right? That's the name of that line. All right. And so anyway, that's how this works. I can find a point of intersection, right? I can say intersect, and you can click on these too. I've got a few too many things going on with the mouse, but I could say, hey, intersect line I and line H, right? So I just type little lowercase I, little lowercase h, and now I have this point named right here, which is cool because I actually have a parallelogram. And so the next thing I'd like to show is how to use these. So my cursor won't show up when I take this pen off, but I am going to be clicking on some of these lines on this circle. Why? Because it's going to make them disappear, right? I didn't really want them. I just wanted the stuff that was behind them, right? So now I can create a polygon using a B, and watch what happens when I do CD. It gets twisted, right? So I have to make sure that I'm going around in some kind of order so that I actually get a polygon. And now the polygon has some things that I can do some fun stuff with. So, oh, it looks like I've got the gear shift just a little bit out of the picture there. Sorry, I tried to move that on the fly here in my in the middle of my presentation. So you want to click on settings, and by the way, these will get you to settings too. So I just clicked on that and I go to settings, and that'll take me to the settings for this polygon. Okay, and you've got all different kinds of things you can look at. Okay, I'm going to X back out of that because when you click on it, you get a quick menu, a quick settings menu. And you can always come over here and go to the full settings. But I've got some options here that are really important. So I can change the color of my polygon to whatever I like, if I'm a big fan of brown. So I can change the thickness of my lines, which I do sometimes, and then label. So I can click to show the label or show the value. What's the value here? Well, that value now is the area, right? And I can also show both, and it will show both the label that I've created for the polygon and its area. All right, and just throwing this out, if you go into your settings, you've got the show axis and show grid. And so now you can start zooming in, zooming out, and getting a more interesting look. For example, you might not want all of these to have all of their labels showing because that's kind of busy. So, sorry, you can go show label and turn them off. Sorry, that's down below where you can see, but I'm clicking it anyway. All right, and so that's how you kind of clean up your figures by hiding things. You also can, anytime you want, like this is point D, and see point D has the wrong color, right? So I can jump in here and make it blue. And that's closer to the right color, but it's also smaller, so I can go to my dot size and make it a little bigger. And now it's almost identical. I think that's the right color, so that's identical to the other points that are drawn. I can make points big. I can make points different colors and highlight different aspects of my drawing. The final thing I'm going to do in this video is create the 4-point geometry. It's a finite geometry, so I'm going to go back to this unit interval here with A and B. Sorry, that's a decimal point, not the comma and 0. There we go. All right, so I have this unit interval, and I can use the segment AB. All right, and now I can use that polygon tool again. So I can use polygon A, comma B, comma 4. Okay, so I get a square, and I'm going to make this a little bit bigger just so I can see it a little better. Again, I'm just using the scroll button on my mouse, and then the left click and hold to drag it around how I like. So in the 4-point geometry, I don't really want this polygon showing, so I'm going to click this. I just wanted these points, and I need the segments between them. So let me do segment. Sorry, I can't spell correctly. I would need segment BC, right? I need segment CD. Sorry, capital C, capital D, capital C. I need segment. Notice I'm not using a capital letter there. You don't have to capital A. Here you do. Here the point has an actual name, and we have to call it its name. And so in the 4-point geometry, we have actually all of the points are connected. So there's a line here. I would like to draw a line here. The problem with drawing a line here is that if I do it, it'll look like there's an intersection point here, and that would be a 5th point. And this is supposed to be the 4-point geometry. So we're going to get around that in kind of a cool way that'll show you a couple more options. So let's come over here. Wait, now that input is down off the screen. Let me, yeah, I got a scroll bar now where I can kind of show you. Good. So I'm going to create one of them. So I can create segment BD. Okay. But now I need one that goes out here. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw something that does this, right? So this line will contain only 2 points, and it won't have any intersections, so it won't confuse people about thinking, oh, there's some other intersections in there. And by the way, this annoys me a little bit. I like to clean this up. These labels can be really busy and show stuff that you don't want to see. So I'm like telegraphing, what I like to see and don't like to see in my GeoGebra there. So, Oh, wait, one more. Okay, good. So now what I'm going to do is I need a circle. That's what I'm going to use. I want like this arc. I want this pretty arc. And so there's a couple of ways to do it, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you that I don't have to have a line drawn to use it. Let me explain what I'm going to do so you see it as it goes, right? I'm going to draw a line through AC and put a point on it. Why? Well, because then the circle will go through these points, right? But then I'll be able to change the size of the circle by moving it. That's the plan, at least. We'll see if it works. Okay, so, oops, I need to start with, so I'm going to do circle, and you see there's all kinds of ways to make a circle, and the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to have, see that point, point, point? I'm going to create it as the circle D, comma, and then I'm going to use this point. I'm going to have this point on this object, which is going to be the line AC. Okay. Then I'm getting out here, put another comma in, and then I need it to go through B. Do you see that? So when I added the B, now it's going to go through the points. Okay. And I thought that there was well, I just screwed up. Okay, that's fine. Whenever you screw up, you just do this. Okay, I'll give it another shot. So let me actually just create the line AC. All right, and you can just put a point on it. This might be a good time to admit that yes, there actually is a good use for this, construct menu here rather than the calculator menu. So now I have a point E, and now I can do circle, give it those 3 points. I can give it D, E, and B. There we go. Now we have what I want. I can just jump back up and hide that line. You won't be able to see it. I'm going to hide the circle here in a minute too because I don't want this part of the circle to the left here, right? This part of the circle is bad. So what I want is I want the arc. And if I type arc, and I can do circle point point. So my circle is C, and then I want it to go from D to B. But notice it got the bottom. I don't know if you saw that highlight. I think I want to switch the order if I go BD. So if I switch the order of the points, it will give me the other arc. Yes. So I don't know if you could see that, but when you're looking at it live, when you're not trying to follow on a video, when you're looking at it on your own computer screen, it's a lot more obvious. Now I can hide the circle, and I just have the arc that I want. So I have the option now to clean this up and make it look nice, right? So I can go and turn to no grid and no axes, and then people don't know what I use to keep it all straight and square and looking nice. And I can, position it how I'd like it so it looks good. I can hide that point E that's not on there. I can get rid of the label, right? By the way, this is right clicking and dragging, and it gives you the ability to do more at once. You can get rid of the labels all at once. I'm not gonna try to show that right now. This isn't a good setup for that, but I can make my oh, then this is interesting. I should show you this, right? I can't get all the colors that I want. So what I can do is I can start here. And I can get, let's say I'm going to make a nice green figure, and I'm going to make the lines about 10 units thick, and I can do that. Sorry. And if I hit plus, then I can click on these colors over here, for example, and that's too light. Let me try to get, that looks good. And so now I have this recent color that I've used. Nope, this one, it looks better. Okay, and I can X out of that, but now the cool thing is when I go here and I try a color, I can go up here and then I get the recent and boom, and I can make my colors match, and I have to also make the size match. Okay, and then why I did that to show you is now I can do the same thing with the colors here. If I go plus, I've got the recent options, and it was a different object, so it was giving me different options for the way to, the colors to use. And here I can make it big like the others. So obviously I'm going to finish these two, and I can make the points bigger, just like I showed before. I could have, say, red points that are nice and large. Usually 8 is pretty good if you're using 10-point lines. So that's pretty much the end of my intro video. There are tons of things you can do with GeoGebra, and I hope that I've showed you sort of two things: a good way to start, a good method of editing using a lot of the typed input, and also how to access some of the settings and to change things and make them look nice. All right, so get busy on GeoGebra, make some pretty stuff.